Good day everyone, I'm Dessa Saliot and I'm the last reporter of Group 1. So today I will be reporting. My assigned topic is all about the Heckscher-Ohlin theory of classical country base of international trade. So Heckscher-Ohlin theory developed by Swedish economics Helle Heckscher and his students Berter Ohlin helps explain why countries trade and how their resource endowments determine the types of goods they export and import. So section 1, what is the Heckscher-Ohlin theory? So the Heckscher-Ohlin theory, also called the HO theory, explains that a country's comparative advantage in trade is determined by its factor endowments, so essentially the natural resources, labor, and capital that it has in abundance. So according to this theory, countries will export goods that requires the factors of production they have in surplus and import goods that require factors that are relatively scarce. So ang country kuno that has an abundance of capital like mga machinery, technology, and infrastructure, it will likely export capital-intensive goods such as automobiles or industrial equipments. So conversely, so if ang country enriched in labor, it will export labor-intensive goods like mga textiles or agricultural products. So next is section 2, 2K components. So they are 2K components of HO model. So first is labor-intensive goods. So these goods require a lot of human labor to produce. Countries with an abundance of labor and lower wages will specialize in producing labor-intensive goods. So example, nasa pictures, countries like India and Vietnam, which have large populations and relatively lower wages, are well known for their labor-intensive industries like mga clothing, footwear, and electronics assembly. So second is capital-intensive goods. So these goods require a high level of investments in machinery, technology, or skilled labor. So ang country with a large capital reserves tends to specialize in producing capital-intensive goods. So example countries nasa picture like Germany and Switzerland. So which their high levels of industrial developments, abundance capital, and skilled engineers are known for exporting products such as luxury cars or advanced machinery. So section 3, how it works. So the Heckscher-Ohlin theory builds on David Ricardo's concept of comparative advantage, which suggests that even if one country is more efficient at producing all goods, trades can still benefit sa tanang mga countries. So, however, the HO theories add an extra layer by explaining only certain countries have a comparative advantage in certain goods. So it possesses that countries will specialize in producing and exporting goods that make intensive use of their abundant resources while importing goods that requires resources they lack. So next is section 4, a real-world example. So the trade relationship between the United States og ang China, so one of the most discussed of global economics. Sila ginanduha ang una nag-discuss sa global economics, and the Heckscher-Ohlin theory provides a useful lens to analyze kung ang China will, with its vast labor pool, excels in producing labor-intensive goods like mga electronics and textiles, and contrast the US with its advanced technology and capital leads in capital-intensive sectors such as aerospace, software, or pharmaceuticals. So, as a result, we see a clear pattern where the US import labor-intensive goods from China and export capital-intensive goods back to the China. So, the actual theory explains why these trade dynamics exist based on each country's resource abundance. So next is section 5, the limitations. First is assumptions of equal technology access. So the HO model assumes that equal access to technology, but technological advancement can shape comparative advantage. So example, the South Korea, one labor abundant, now leads in capital intensive industries like semiconductors due to tech investments which the model doesn't account for. So the second is limited mobility of capital and labor. So the model assumes capital labor can't move internationally, but globalization has changed this for. So example, factories moving from the US to Mexico for cheaper labor contradict the model's immobility assumption. So next is overemphasis on factor endowments. So ang HO model nag-emphasize siya sa labor and capital but overlooks other important factors such as policy and trade agreements. So example, China manufacturing dominance is not only due to abundant labor but also to infrastructure development and favorable trade policy factors the models fails to account for. So next is section 6, why the HO model still matter. So despite its limitation, the Heckscher-Ohlin theory remains a cornerstone of modern trade because it highlights the role goal of resource endowments in shaping trade patterns. So makatabang po ni siya unsaon pag-explain why developing countries often export raw materials or labor-intensive goods while developing countries export high-tech, capital-intensive product. So example, look at the Africa continent. Countries rich in natural resources such as Nigeria and Angola. So ang nag-export sila og oil and minerals but import a significant amount of manufactured goods. So this is consistent with the prediction of the HO model, which argues that countries will export goods that make use of their most abundant resources. So in today's global economy, trade tensions and negotiations often revolve around this difference in resource endowments, making the Heckscher-Ohlin theory highlight relevant when analyzing international trade policy. So the last is section 7, so conclusion. So the Heckscher-Ohlin theory provides a vital framework for understanding the patterns of global trade by emphasizing how countries' resource endowments, whether labor, capital, or natural resources, shape their comparative advantage. So kining theory, its limitation, it remains highly applicable in explaining why countries specialize in certain goods and giunsa pud siya pag benefits from trade. And that's all. Thank you.